Good morning, methods class. Welcome back. Week 2, lesson 3. Hope you're doing okay today. So we're going to wrap up our trig functions booklet with some applications of the sine and cosine rules. So far in this topic, we start off with recapping. Hey, remember when we had right angle triangles, then we can apply Pythagoras or we can apply SOHCAHTOA. And then we introduced two new formulas, the sine rule and the cosine rule, which work for any triangle, not necessarily right angle triangle. So recap, in summary, we use the sine rule, which is the default formula is A on sine A equals B on sine B. So the ratio of the side length and the sine of the corresponding angle is the same for all three sides and angles in a triangle. So the corresponding angle is the angle which is opposite the side. So when do we use the sine rule? We use the sine rule in two cases. Number one, when we are given two sides and one angle which is opposite one of the given sides, and we want to find an angle which is opposite the other given side. And case 2, we use the sine rule when we are given two angles and one side which is opposite the given angles, and we want a side which is opposite the other given angle. Now, very importantly for sine rule, always check for the ambiguous case. And this is because in our sine of angles, we can have a positive sine answer in either quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. By default, our calculator works out the acute angle answer in quadrant 1, but technically the obtuse angle, the 90 to 180 degree angle, the quadrant 2 answer can still hold. But that is only if you check the conditions. The ambiguous case condition number 1 is that the given angle is acute. You're given an acute angle. Condition number 2 for ambiguous case is that the adjacent side length, so adjacent side length is bigger than the opposite side length. And the third condition for ambiguous case to hold is that the opposite side length is bigger than the adjacent side times the sine of the given angle. So make sure you always do check for ambiguous case, because you never know for the sine rule. So that's when we use the sine rule. We also introduce the cosine rule. So default formula is cos of my angle C is equal to the square of the other two sides and add them together, so a squared plus b squared minus my side squared minus c squared, and I'm dividing by twice of the other two sides. So when do we use cosine rule? Well, it's when you're given three sides and you want an angle, or case 2, you're given two sides and an angle squished between those two sides, and you want to find a third side of the triangle. Some questions might involve you to mix and match between the sine rule and the cosine rule and Pythagoras and SOHCAHTOA. It might also involve you using the sum of angles in a triangle to be 180 degrees as well. And there's many ways to solve a problem, so some you might choose to use the sine rule, which might be faster, but you can still work it out